is my updated jewelry wish list. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Celesta. We talk about all things luxury shopping and handbags. If you love those things, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification. I do post videos twice a week. Okay, so I've been kind of wanting to do this for a little bit. I feel like I've obviously very much been in my jewelry era recently. I recently did like an updated jewelry tour because I've gotten quite a few pieces that have been new that I'm wearing just all the time. I typically don't really take off my jewelry. So I feel like because of that, once it's on, it's on. And so I have a couple new pieces that I wanted to kind of include into the wish list, some of which are relatively new and have definitely caught my eye recently. Nothing I'm pulling the trigger on yet. I feel like because I just got so many new pieces, I want to wear them by itself before I start thinking about what I want to stack with it, how I envision the stack, you know, so on and so forth. And so without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so starting with rings, this should be no surprise to you. As you know, I recently got my half eternity wedding bands and I absolutely love it. I have wanted the Rowan Laguna Wave ring set. So I wanted this ring plus the wedding band with the emeralds. I think this is absolutely stunning. I originally wanted it with a pink sapphire, like a very light pink sapphire. And I thought about doing this as a pinky ring. But to be honest, now that this is the stack, I'm having a hard time fully envisioning what that looks like. So I don't know that I want it on my pinky. I do know that I want it. I just am taking a little bit of time to figure out which finger to put it on. So because based on that, then you have to decide on the sizing, right? So I'm having some trouble figuring out which finger to put it on, but I do really like something like this. I've also considered doing a marquee ring, but it's set east-west as a pinky ring. I feel like that is very cute, very dainty, and I feel like, again, that could be something that I wear on either hand. With my stack like this, having it be so simple, I can't just throw in a pinky ring. I feel like I have to have other rings there and then add in a pinky ring for it to stack well. Otherwise, it looks kind of random and not fully thought out. So I'm still trying to figure out the stack, and I feel like once I've figured out the stack with other rings, then I would love to incorporate some kind of statement pinky ring. I think it would be amazing. The next item I have on this list, I have thought about different ways to change up the look of my original engagement ring. So if you watch the original jewelry tour, I think I talked about my original engagement ring, which is a round diamond ring with pave band. And this was like my dream ring, right? This is exactly what I had envisioned, except I did not envision that the pave diamonds would be so uncomfortable. I thought, oh, you know, it just takes a couple weeks, a couple months to get used to it. I've been wearing this ring since December of 2022. 22. December of 2022, and it has not gotten any more comfortable. And so I also feel like we're kind of moving away from just like really thin bands and solitaire diamonds. We're moving more into something that's a little bit more of a bold statement. So I've kind of thought about different ways that I can do this with this ring. I did see on TikTok or Instagram a while back, someone did a ring jacket. It's kind of like a fully open ring jacket. You slide in the regular diamond in there, and then it closes up into almost like a signet ring. And I feel like that could be such a fun little thing that we do. I don't know who can do this. I don't know, you know, how much this is going to cost, all of these things, because I want to permanently alter my engagement ring, right? But I want to have the option of changing it up, and I feel like that's a really good option. I could also see myself stacking with a couple like chunkier rings around it to see how it'll look. But again, I feel like you kind of have to envision the stack, like the full stack, before making these moves. And then the last ring that's kind of stayed on my wish list, and I feel like this one's kind of the easiest one to tackle, and I don't really need to quote unquote envision the full stack when I'm thinking about this ring. It is the open wrap ring from Ring Concierge. This used to be around $500. Sometimes I see it like 20% off on sale for like Black Friday and things like that. And I've always been so close to pulling the trigger, but for whatever reason, I just like never prioritized it enough to get it. But again, I feel like this is gonna be a ring that I can wear on either hand. I can wear it with very simple ring stack like this, or I can have it kind of like decked out like I'd envision, and it still blends in seamlessly. Moving over to earrings, I do have a couple earrings. I feel like because I recently got necklaces, I recently got rings, I feel like the next thing that I'm kind of itching towards is getting new earrings. I have been wearing the Majuri Bold Huggy Hoops, like these ones, for literally forever. But if I were to get new earrings, here are a couple that I would consider. The first one that I consider, I think are probably like the most, easy to check off the list statement earrings, are these Ore Bow herringbone earrings. I think these are so adorable. I could see these being so good for like the holiday season, just very much like statement vibe. Definitely not something you would wear all year round. Definitely not something that you're going to leave in your ears and forget about it, but I think these are absolutely so cute. I also have gone back and forth because I've kind of been itching to like get something from Van Cleef, and I've talked about this. I don't feel like anything from Van Cleef has been like screaming my name, but I feel this itch. And this is such a first world problem, and I can't explain it, but I feel like if I were to get something from Van Cleef, it might be a pair of earrings. I have looked at the Sweet Alhambra earrings, those ones in the mother of pearl. The issue with mother of pearl is that the stone tends to shrink if it touches water, and I don't take off my earrings, so they will inevitably touch water. They also have them in onyx, but I think the ones that I've kind of liked the most are the Lucky Spring ones. I feel like these ones just have a little bit more like oomph to it, but it's currently not available on the website, so I don't know if they've discontinued this line or it's just not in season right now. Speaking of pearl, Rowan released these beautiful Morel earrings. These are such a statement if you want them to be. I think these are absolutely stunning, and it's so interesting because I feel like I didn't notice these until I saw Shay, the co-founder, wearing them in her Instagram story. I was like, oh my god, are these new? Like where are they? When did you release them? I think these are absolutely stunning. I think these would also make for a really beautiful bridal earring if you want. Again, something more of a statement, less so every day. And then the last pair of earrings I'm considering, and maybe the most realistic at the moment, are these like dangly pear earrings. I've kind of been in like a pear diamond phase recently. I obviously got the pear pendant, and so I feel like these like little dangling pear earrings would have been really cute. I mean, again, I feel like these would have been really good for bridal, but unfortunately we've kind of passed that phase in our life. But I think also we could still wear these for more dressy events. We have kind of the next round of people getting engaged probably next year. So if I had to guess, I think the next wave of weddings are going to be towards the tail end of 2026/2027 that I'm attending, not that I'm working. And so I feel like these would be really great as a more statement, elegant earring that we could dress up, but also feel like these could still be really good earrings for every day. I really don't have any necklaces on my wish list. I feel like last year I had the tennis necklace, I had the herringbone necklace, and I had the pear east-west pendant. And I feel like because I have so many necklaces, and you can't exactly stack that many, right? I mean, you can, but I don't like how it gets tangled. And so I feel like in terms of necklaces, I feel very content with the necklaces that I have. I wear them all the time, and I absolutely adore them, and I adore the stack. Like, I feel like the stack is complete, But in terms of bracelets, I've been wearing the same two bracelets for a very long time. I've had the Yadav tennis bracelet that I got a couple months after we got engaged, and then I've had the Van Cleef Sweet Alhambra, I want to say 2021. So I've had both of these for a pretty long time. And I think that there could be more that we add to it. I did get the Tiffany Atlas bangle last year or early this year. And I don't wear it all the time just because when I'm kind of clickety-clack on my laptop, it like bangs against the laptop and it scratches very easily. So with that in mind, if I'm thinking about kind of like everyday stack, something I don't take off, because I think bracelets are the hardest jewelry to put on and off every day, especially if you only have one hand. And so bracelets are like my least favorite to take on and off. So ideally, if I could leave it on all the time, that is the dream. We kind of talked about Van Cleef a little bit. I could see myself upgrading my Sweet Alhambra to a 5 motif. I feel like there's been so many like hot takes around Van Cleef in the last 6 months to a year. I think this is very common, when anything gets super popular and people are like, oh, it's suddenly so tacky, right? And so it's very common when these conversations kind of happen. I always knew down the road I would eventually get the 5 motif, but again, it comes down to the fact that I just like don't know which one to get because I don't take off my jewelry. So I got the hammered rose gold one because it doesn't have a stone. It's not going to fall off. It's not going to shrink. I don't need a baby. I can keep it on all the time. And so it's something that I have to consider when I'm looking at the 5 motif. I think the most realistic might be the onyx, but when I did try this on a couple months ago, it just just didn't like, it didn't spark any like major feels. So maybe as time goes on, I will have more feelings. Maybe something else will come along on the market, but I do feel like we could be doing something more with this wrist. I also thought about doing the Tiffany hardware bracelet. So my friend Bethany, who works at Tiffany, I went over to her apartment the other day and we were just playing dress up, and she like had all her jewelry out, and like I was like trying on all these pieces, and I saw it with the stack and I actually really like it. I feel like it stacks well. It adds a little bit more texture to the stack. It gives a little bit more of a 3D look. I'm definitely not opposed to the hardware at all, but again, it's one of those things, I think because it's been like newly added to the wish list, I don't feel this certain pull for it. And then the last two, I don't think I would get both, but one or the other. I've talked about this a little bit. It has to be like a big milestone or like a 30th birthday or something of that sort. I would love to get a Cartier watch. First, I had the Cartier Mini Panthère on my list. The most popular and the most reasonably priced is the stainless steel Mini Panthère. So this one runs you about $4,000. Absolutely stunning, right? And I love how dainty this looks, except I don't do silver hardware. I don't do white gold. I also don't know that I love mixing metals. I don't know if I'm a mixing metals kind of girl. Like, I don't think I'm that cool. And so if I were to get the Mini Panthère, I would have to get it in gold. And the price in gold for this watch is like almost ridiculous. Like this watch, I think in gold is at least like $25,000. And so I don't know that at that price point, it's worth it to get this watch. I do absolutely love this watch. I think I can maybe find like a vintage version of this, maybe when I'm in Japan. So it's either that one or the Cartier Bang Noir watch. I think this one might be the most realistic. I do like that this almost looks like a piece of jewelry and it will stack really well with my current stack. It won't look like a watch because I don't know that I'm really like a watch girly, you know, but I think that's kind of what I'm envisioning, not in the near future, but probably for like a big milestone. Maybe that's like a career milestone, financial milestone, or just having this as like a 30th birthday gift. I could totally see myself doing something like that as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what is in your jewelry wish list. I feel like we've kind of steered away from like handbags more recently, shoes even. A lot of people have kind of been leaning into jewelry, and even outside of just your typical fashion houses in terms of jewelry. So you're leaning away from Cartier, Tiffany, Van Cleef, you know, we're leaning more into these smaller up and coming custom designs that make things a lot more unique and personal to you. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you guys have been eyeing recently, but I'll leave another video for you guys here and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!